Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel, and this time I want to congratulate all of you, and I do really appreciate yung 500 subscribers na meron na tayo. And to commemorate this small success, may surprise ako sa inyo. Hintayin nyo sa dulo ng video na to kung ano yung mga surprises na para sa inyo. At dahil excited na ako, tara simulan na natin agad to.
I have you.
And for day 1 ng ating pag-aaral ngayong second week sa mathematics, we're going to discuss all about describing the nature of roots using discriminant. A way to describe the nature of roots of a given quadratic equation is by finding the value of its discriminant. Extracted from the quadratic formula, x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, we have our discriminant equal to the equation's radicand. That is given by b squared minus 4ac. In finding the discriminant, we just have to substitute the value for a, b, and c, the values of our numerical coefficients with accordance to the prescription of the formula. Example, find the value of the discriminant given x squared minus 3x plus 2 equals 0. Given by the formula, we have b squared minus 4ac. Now, by substitution, we have b is equal to negative 3, and then we have negative 3 squared minus 4, then the value of a is 1, then the value of c is 2. Simplifying the value here, we have negative 3 squared is 9 minus the value for 4 times 1 times 2 is 8. Now, we have 9 minus 8 then gives you 1. So, 1 is the value for our discriminant. O, di ba guys, ganun lang kasimple ang pagkuha ng discriminants. So, tignan pa natin, magbigay pa tayo ng ibang example. We have x squared plus 3x plus 7 equals 0. By computing the discriminant, sabi, kailangan lang natin i-review yung quadratic formula. So, kung napanood nyo yung video natin about sa quadratic formula, meron tayong ginagamit na x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Na, sabi sa lesson natin for today, discriminant is the value of the radicand. Ayun po yung b squared minus 4ac. So, yun na nga, kunin natin yung b squared minus 4ac ng ating equation. The value of our b, we have 3. Then, that should be 3 squared minus 4 times a is 1, then c is 7. Simplifying the expression, we have 3 times 3 is 9 minus 4 times 7 times 1 is 28. Then our final answer after subtracting 9 and 28, we will come up with negative 19. So there you have it. The value of our discriminant b squared minus 4ac for our example x squared plus 3x plus 7 equals 0 is negative 19. After getting the values for our discriminants, we have here the conditions whether to describe the nature of roots using our discriminants. First, if the value of the discriminant is less than 0, meaning negative numbers, then the roots are said to be imaginary. Hence, the equation has no real roots. In symbols, if b squared minus 4ac is less than 0, then the roots are imaginary. Example, x squared minus 4x plus 7 equals 0. Then, as we get the value of the discriminant, we have b squared minus 4ac is equal to b is negative 4 squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is 7. Now, simplifying the expression, we will have negative 4 times negative 4 equals 16 minus 4 times 1 times 7 will become 28. 16 minus 28 is negative 12. Therefore, the quadratic equation has imaginary or no real roots. Let us check the answer if it is really imaginary roots. The answer should be x is equal to 4 plus or minus the square root of negative 12 over 2 after applying the quadratic formula. Or should we say we will have a final answer of x is equal to 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 3 upon further simplifying the answer. Now, the values 2 plus square root of negative 3 and 2 minus square root of negative 3 are imaginary numbers. Note for a fact that if we have a negative square root numbers, those are considered to be imaginary numbers. The second condition is that if the value of the discriminant is equal to 0, then the roots are said to be real, rational, and equal. In symbols, b squared minus 4az equals 0, then the roots are real, rational, and equal. Example, x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 0. After getting the value of the discriminant, which is b squared minus 4ac, which is equal to 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 9 after substitution, we will come up with 36 minus 36. And obviously, it is equal to 0. Therefore, the quadratic equation has real, rational, and equal roots. Let us check if the answers are really real, rational, and equal. After getting the answer for this equation, using the quadratic formula, we will come up with x equals negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 0 over 2. Further simplifying the answer, we will end up with negative 3 plus or minus 0. Adding or subtracting 0 from negative 3 will result to the same answer, x is equal to negative 3, and the other x, or the other root, will also become negative 3. And so, the two roots are real, rational, and they are equal. The third condition is, if the value of the discriminant is more than 0, meaning it involves positive numbers and is a perfect square, then the roots are said to be real, rational, and unequal. In symbols, if b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0 and is a perfect square, then the roots are real, rational, and unequal. For our example, we have here x squared plus 11x plus 28 equals 0. After getting the value of our discriminant, which is b squared minus 4ac, and substituting the values of our coefficients, we have 11 squared minus 4 times 1 times 28. Simplifying this given expression, we will come up with 121 minus 112. And subtracting these numbers, we will end up with 9. Observing that 9 is a perfect square, therefore the quadratic equation has real, rational, and unequal roots. Let us try to observe the roots of the equation. After applying the quadratic formula, we will end up with the answer x equals negative 11 plus or minus the square root of 9 over 2. Or after simplifying it, we will end up with negative 11 plus or minus 3 over 2. Further simplifying the expression to come up with its simplest form, we have negative 11 plus 3 over 2 will result to negative 8 over 2, which is negative 4. Also, if we have negative 11 minus 3 over 2, that will be negative 14 over 2, which is negative 7. Then our final answer will become negative 7 and negative 4. And observing it, the roots are real, rational, and they are unequal. Finally, if the value of the discriminant is more than 0, meaning it's positive numbers, and is not a perfect square, then the roots are said to be real, irrational, and unequal. In symbols, b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0 and is not a perfect square, then the roots are said to be real, irrational, and unequal. Having our example, 3x squared minus x minus 3 equals 0, extracting the value of our discriminant b squared minus 4ac, resulting to the expression negative 1 squared minus 4 times 3 times negative 3. Simplifying the expression, we will come up with 1 minus negative 36. It will become 1 plus 36 after distributing the negative sign to negative 36. And the resulting answer will be 37. Note that 37 is not a perfect square and is a positive number. Therefore, the quadratic equation has real, irrational, and unequal roots. Checking the values of our roots, we have x is equal to 1 plus or minus the square root of 37 over 6. Extracting the two values of our roots, we have 1 plus square root of 37 over 6, and the other one is 1 minus square root of 37 over 6. That is already the simplified form of our answer. This kind of expression is considered to be irrational numbers. Ayan, so there you have it. Meron daw tayong 4 na condition na kailangan tandaan ha, para masabi nating ang discriminant ay para sa ganitong uri ng roots. Meron tayong b squared minus 4ac na less than 0. Meron tayong b squared minus 4ac na equal sa 0. Meron tayong b squared minus 4ac na mas mataas sa 0 pero perfect square. At meron din tayong b squared minus 4ac greater than 0 naman pero hindi perfect square. To give you the summary on the conditions to describe the nature of roots, we say that the quadratic equation contains imaginary roots if b squared minus 4ac is less than 0. Our quadratic equations will have real, rational, and equal roots if the discriminant is equal to 0. Now, we will have real, rational, and unequal roots if the discriminant is greater than 0 and is a perfect square. And lastly, if our discriminant is greater than 0 but not a perfect square, our roots are said to be real, irrational, and unequal. So, kailangan nyo lang tandaan yung 4 na yon para ma-describe ninyo ng maayos ang ating roots for the quadratic equations. Sige nga, practice kayo, sagutan ninyo ang 5 examples natin para matry nyo kung nagets nyo yung lesson natin. Ngayon naman, kung nasagutan nyo na, ipapakita ko sa inyo yung correct answers para ma-check ninyo kung tama ang inyong mga sagot. Sana ay nakuha ninyo ng maayos at madali ang ating lesson for today. 'Di ba? Ang dali lang. Kayang-kaya nyo yan. At ayun na nga para sa ating game, to commemorate the 500 subscribers natin at ang pa-thank you ko sa inyo, mamamahagi tayo ng panload para naman makatulong sa mga estudyante natin sa pagmo-mobile search nila sa kanilang mga assignments and activities sa kanilang pag-aaral. So I will be selecting 5 lucky students, 5 winners ng 100 peso load para 500. 5 lucky students sa ating maliit na community. Ang kailangan nyo lang gawin ay mag-subscribe sa channel ko, i-like ang video na to, mag-comment kung anong natutunan nyo. So, pipili tayo ng lucky 5 students na mag-share, magla-like, magko-comment sa video na to kung ano ang mga natutunan nila at ano yung feeling nila about this video at mag-share sa kanilang timeline sa Facebook para naman marami pa tayong matulungan. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Pag nagawa ninyo yon, mamimili tayo ng 5 lucky winners. Good luck! At ayun na nga, tapos na tayo sa first lesson natin for the second week. Sana nag-enjoy kayo and I do hope na nakakatulong ako sa inyo in my own little way para mapagpatuloy nyo ang inyong distance learning. Kaya yan. Kahit mag-isa, virtually makakahanap kayo ng tulong. Bye guys!